Kakadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Zevachim, Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph 57a1. We are now asking about the Olah. The Olah Gufa Minalan. How do we know that Dam HaOlah, you have to throw it Keneged Yesod? Remember, you have the Yesod is on the bottom, but the Yesod is going to be on the bottom towards two different directions, and then a little tiny bit of an Amma on the other two directions. So really, Be'emet, you only have the Yesod on the top and the left. So let me just check if you want a actual picture. Again, we're going to need that picture. You have the picture. No. No. Yeah. You've got it on the north and on the west. You have the full Yesod, right? Because if you remember, northwest, basically. Because if you remember on the east and the south, you only had one Amma that it was coming in. Okay? So how do we know that it has to be, right? Keneged Yesod. Tichtiv, it says in a pasuk, El Yesod Mizbach HaOlah. So since it says it Yesod Mizbach HaOlah, Limed Al-Olah, Sheteuna Yesod. So you have to throw it, you have to sprinkle the blood by the sides of the Mizbeach that have a Yesod. So Elmaleh halan shte matanot shen arba'a, avkad shte matanot shen arba'a. So 1 second. If you're learning it, right? If we're learning the matan damim of a bechor maaser and the pesach from a gzera shava from the olah, so just like over there by the olah, it's going to be shte matanot shen arba'a, two which become four. You remember, how do you do two which become four? On the corners, you remember when you sprinkle it on the corner, so then it splits into the two sides. So that's shte matanot, that becomes arba, because that's one matana achat. And then on the other corner, you do the same thing. So it's going to be shte matanot, which become four, because it splits up. So he says, so we should learn the same thing by the Pesach, the Bechor Maaser, and all those other things. So Abaye says, no. Why? How do we know that it's going to be enough matana achat by all of these? Remember, you have the Bechor Maaser and the Pesach. How do you know that it's going to be enough? One. So he comes and he says, Lama li michtav saviv be'olah. Why does it say saviv? Meaning by the korban olah, it's written they have to do saviv. Saviv means all around. Saviv. What's a saviv? Saviv is around. So he says saviv bechatat, right? And it also says again saviv by the korban chatat, right? So then ayu shne ketuvim ba'im kechad. The second you have two pesukim telling you the exact same yesod, it becomes two pesukim ba'im kechad, which teach you the same halacha. So you cannot learn it for other things. Meaning, since it doesn't say Saviv by the Korban Pesach, or by the Bechor, or the Maaser, so therefore, since it doesn't say Saviv, so therefore, all you need is Matanachat. But by the Olah, it says Saviv. By the Chatat, it says Saviv. So since it says Saviv by both of those, the Shne Ketuvim Vayim Kechad, two Pesukim teaching you the same Yesod. When you have two Pesukim teaching you the same Yesod, Em Lamdin. You don't learn from it. So the Gemara is going to ask all these questions. That's according to the Mandamar Shein Melamdim. But according to the Mandamar Melamdim, what are you going to say? So he says, Ave Asham Shlosha. The Asham also says Saviv. So therefore he says, and since it says Vedamo Yizroko Saviv, it becomes now three Pesukim teaching you the same thing. Shlosha Vadaim Lamdim. For three, for sure you don't teach it. Right? For sure you're not going to be able to learn to other things. Okay, until here we're clear. So one more time. You have Olah, Hatat, Asham. It says Saviv. Once it says Saviv, it has to be Shte Matanot and Arba. The other ones, which are going to the Bechor, Maaser, and the Pesach, it does not say Saviv. So since it doesn't say Saviv, it's Matana Achat. Okay, Kapish? Okay. Next, a Bechor Nechal HaKohanim. The Bechor is going to be eaten for the Kohanim. Yeah? So he says, V'Maaser Lechol Adam. Okay, so it says like this. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. How do you know that the Bechor is going to be 2 days and 1 night? Shnei Yamim, Laila Echad. Yeah? How do you know that it's going to be Nechal Shnei Yamim Laila Echad? He says, Shneimar, but says in the Pasuk, Ach Bechor Shor, Uvsaram Yelach, Kachazeh Turufah Shok Yamin. Hikisho, making a kesh. Hikisho HaKatuv, Lechazeh Vekshok Shel Shlamim. Just like the Shlamim is Nechalin, Shnei Yamim V'Layla Echad, so to the Bechor is Shnei Yamim V'Layla Echad. So one more time. You have the Mekor Din. Remember that there's always a Mekor Din, and then you're learning from the Mekor. The Mekor is the fuente, the source. Okay, so you've got, right? You come and you have the Shlamim. The Shlamim is Shnei Yamim V'Layla Echad. Right? 2 days and 1 night. So the same day that you did the Korban, the full night and the next full day until the Shekiah. So he comes and he says, just like the Shlamim is going to be Shlemim v'layla echad, so to the Bechor is going to be Shenei Yamim v'layla echad. Vezo she'ela nishala lifnei hachamim bekerem biyavneh. This was the question which was asked in front of the rabbis in Kerem Biyavneh. Bechor lekama ne'echal. How much was the Bechor, right, was the Bechor eaten? How long? How long do you have to eat the Bechor? So Ne'ena Rabbi Tarfon v'amar Rabbi Tarfon comes and he answers, Shlemim v'layla echad. Hayash tam sham tamid echad sheba lebet hamidrash lifnei chachamim techila. There was somebody that came beforehand. Rabbi Yosei Galileh shemo. His name was Rabbi Yosei Galileh. Amar lo Rabbi minay lecha. So he comes and he tells Rabbi Tarfon, how do you know? They ask you a question. Another question is, how do you know? Right? You want to know? Find out. Where do you know from? So Amar lo, he says, Beni, Shlamim is Kadashim Kalim. Ubechor, Kadashim Kalim. It's all Kadashim Kalim. So he says, just like the Shlamim, so the Bechor, Kadashim. Amar lo, he says, Rabbi, HaBechor matana laKohen. V'chatat v'asham lamatana laKohen. Ma chata v'asham liyom v'layla. HaBechor liyom v'layla. So he asks, Rabbi, 1 second. You are comparing it together because you remember, whenever you do comparables, you try to compare. But sometimes you can't be makish because you can't compare them. So you're comparing them because they're all called Kadashim Kalim, meaning the Bechor is Kadashim Kalim and Shlamim is Kadashim Kalim, as the Selam and Shos, Bediuko Todovar. So you want to say that they're all the same. Shnei Yamim v'layla echad. Rabbi, 1 second. I've got a question. He says, Rabbi, right? Look what an anavad. Look, the way that they used to speak to the rabbis. Right? There's a Bioseh Galileh telling Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi. He comes and he says, but 1 second. You've got the Bechor is Nechal HaKohanim. The Chatat ve'Hasham is also Nechal HaKohanim. So why are you comparing Kadashim Kalim with Kadashim Kalim? Why don't I just compare who's it eating to? Is it eaten from? It's eaten for Kohanim. So the Bechor is eaten for Kohanim, and the Chatat ve'Hasham eaten for Kohanim. Just like the Chatat ve'Hasham, how long do you have? No. Yes. Tell me how it says in the morning. You say Korbanot. And the Korbanot. Yom v'layla al hasot. Technically, you have Yom v'layla. You have Yom v'layla. Yom v'layla is a day and night. The same day of the Shechita, the Asham and the Chatat. Yom v'layla. Right? What is Yom v'layla? Yom v'layla means you have the same day of the Shechita, of the Korban, and then that night. Right? But Chachamim came and they said, no, you only have until Chatzot. But technically speaking, you have the entire night until Amud Shachar. But the Chachamim came and they said, no, you've got until Hasot. Yeah? So he comes and he says like this. He comes and he says, right? He comes and he says, B'chavod. Yeah? So he comes and he says this. He says, right, the fact that right now you have Yom V'layla, right, which is day and night, that's it. That's all that you have. So therefore, why are you comparing it to that? So he answers him, Amarlo, he says, says the Gemara, right? He says, Amarlo answers Rabbi Tarfon, Beni. He says, Nadun davar mi davar, venilmad davar mi davar. He comes and he says like this. He says, we're going to do a binyan av for two comparables. And we're not going to do, right, and from something which is comparable, which does not come from binyan av. So he comes and he says like this. Mashlamim en bain al chet. Af bechor eno ba al chet. V'mashlamim nechalim l'shnei yamim v'layla echad. Av bechor nechal l'shnei yamim v'layla echad. He comes and he says like this. He says, you know what? How did I want to do the comparables? I had two comparables. I had the comparables about all the Kadashim Kalim. So what do you have in Kadashim Kalim? What's Kadashim Kalim? Kadashim Kalim. No. A Nazir is an Asham. Asham Metzorah, Asham Nazir, Asham Torah. Maaser, Shlamim, and the Pesach. Okay, those are Kadashim Kalim. Right? Very good. Okay. So says the Gemara, why are you going to you're going to start comparing between one and another, whether it's going to be Shlamim and all these things. So he comes and he says like this. He says, 1 second. He says, there's another reason of a comparable. You know what the other reason of comparables is? The Hatat and the Asham. You wanted to compare the Bechor to them, but it's Nechala Kohanim. It's eaten by the Kohanim. He says, Hatat and Asham, what does it come for? What's the purpose of a chatat and asham? מה הסיבה של חטאת ואשם? חטא. Shlamim, it's peace, nothing to do with sin. Habechor, nothing to do with sin. Habechor, you had a bechor in that was born to your thing. Chazak Baruch. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't belong to you. Sin. Who's talking about sin? So he comes and he says that's why it's a binyanav. So he comes and he says, so I'm going to learn from the shlamim, right? That by the shlamim, since it's not coming for sin, so too this is not coming for sin. Capish? Fine. So says the Gemara, Amalo Rabbi, this is Rabbi, Nedon davar midavar, right? V'ilama davar davar. Chata ve'asham matana lakohen, ubechol lakohen, right? So he says, Ma chata ve'asham v'neded davar, avbechol v'neded davar, right? Ma chata ve'asham nechalim yom echad, avbechol nechal yom echad. 1 second, we're getting more comparables here. One more time, I want you guys to make a chart in your mind. It's very simple. What are the comparables? One comparable is the Bechor to the Shlamim, because it's Kadashim Kalim. So on the left side, you have Kadashim Kalim. Okay, Kadashim Kalim. On the right side, I'm going to have Bechor with the Chatat ve'asham because it's Nechal HaKohanim. So you've got Nechal HaKohanim, Kadashim Kalim. I just brought you another comparable. It does not come for sin. Correct? So therefore, Shlamim does not come for sin. The Bechor does not come for sin. The Chatat ve'asham does come for sin. So it's another comparable. Says the how do you call this? Says the Rabbi Yosef Galilei. So 1 second. Here I'm also going to say that it's the Chatat ve'asham is a matana lekohen. So we already said nechal kohanim. There's another thing also. It does not come as a neder and a dava. Meaning a person cannot come and say, you know what? I want to give a present. What's a present? A chatat. You know what a chatat is? A sin offering. Why can't I give a chatat as a present? Huh? And therefore, but I want to give a present, a sin offering. No, also not a shantalu. לא יכול, אבל למה? תגיד לי סברה, אני רוצה לשמוע. כן.
מה אתה נותן לכפרה שלי, אתה נותן לך, לא.
קצת יותר מזה, לא רק כפרה, קצת יותר מזה, קצת יותר. אני מרגיש כמו רופא שיניים, אני מוצא שיניים. יותר, נו, מרדכי.
The sin one if there's a korban tamid.
No, but the tamid has nothing to do with anything. Tamid, everyone has to bring every single day. We bring korban tamid. Tamid shachar, tamid shalom mai.
Why?
No, but why can't I? I want instead of bringing a shlamim as a neder and a nedava, I want to bring a chatat. Why can't I? That's a thing.
הוא מחפר, וזה מתנה, זה לא...
אתם, עוד פעם, זה לא שאתם לא צודקים, אתם כן צודקים, אבל קצת יותר. בשורש. זה פגם! איך אתה מעיז להביא לקדוש ברוך הוא חטאת? כאילו שאתה שמח שאתה חוטא? אם אתה כבר חטאת, בסדר, אוקיי, אז תביא חטא בשביל כפרה. אבל הכפרה זה side issue. What, you have the audacity to come and say, you know what, הקדוש ברוך הוא, I'm going to bring you a present. What's a present? If I'm going to sin against you. That's called a present? That's a חטאת?
Like a prepayment.
Exactly what's going on here.
A joker.
Huh? A joker, exactly. What is this? So it's even a pgam, it's a defect. How could you bring out of here? How could you do this? You understand? So therefore, because of that, you cannot come as a neder and a dava. So now one more time, everybody zoom out. Everybody look here, zoom out. I've got shilamim and I've got bechor. First of all, I compared them because they're kadashim kalim. Second of all, I came and I compared them because what? No. Oh, okay, fine. You're going the other way. Fine. So then I compared them to the chatat v'asham because it's nechal kohanim. Then I went to this one. This one I went and I told them that it's going to be what? It's not coming al chet, because of the binyan of that it's not coming al chet, and the chatat v'asham comes on chet. But then on this side, I came after nechal kohanim. I come and I said, yeah, but neder and nedava. The bechor is not a neder and nedava. You can't make a neder and nedava or bechor. It's either it's a bechor or not a bechor. But I can't make a neder and nedava and bechor, just like I can't make a neder and nedava on chatat v'asham. But on shlamim, can I make a neder and nedava? Yes. So if I'm going to compare the bechor is compared to the chatat v'asham, just like it's compared to the shlamim. Over here, I've got kadashim kalim, and I've got that it's not coming on chet, and over here, I've got nechal kohanim and neder v'nedava. So I've got 2 against 2. Capish or not?
Capish.
It's so beautiful when you understand, but just pay attention.
זה מתמטיקה. טכנולוגיה.
Yeah. So says the Gemara, right? Kafatz Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva jumps in. ונסתלק רבי Tarfon, he didn't know what to answer. באמת, it was a good question. Rabbi Yosef stumped him. He didn't have an answer. Comes Rabbi Akiva. Amar lo, and he tells him, Hare Umer, it says, Uvsaram yelach, hekishana katuv. There's a hekesh. Because if you wanted to learn it from a binyan av, you're right. Technically, it's 2 against 2. Why do you decide which one's stronger? But there's a hekesh. What's a hekesh? מה זה מקיש? אתם אוהבים היקש. What's היקש? Right? You have a juxtaposition, close proximity. When you have 2 things written right beside each other. So you learn the halachot which are comparable. So it says in the pasuk, Ufsaram yelach, kachazeh ativach shok yamin, right? Lecha yeh, hikishan hakatuv lechazeh v'shok shel shlamim. Meaning, ma shlamim, just like the shlamim is nechal in shtei mimim echad echad, v'chol is going to be nechal in shtei mimim echad. He comes and he says, it's hikesh. Now, en meshivim al hikesh. You don't ask a question against hikesh. If it's a binyan av, comparables, I could ask you a question. Why are you comparing it to A? I want to compare it to B. Right? Why are you comparing it to B? I could compare it to C. You could ask a question. But if it's brought down in the same pasuk, right beside each other, I can't ask a question. What are you going to ask? Right? Well, but maybe it's compared to something else, but it's written right beside each other. So I learned that the halachot are the same. No. But this is what Rabbi Akiva answered Rabbi Yosef. He answered him this. So Amarlo, so Rabbi Yosef comes and he answers Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi, ata ikashto lechazeh v'shok shel shlamim, v'ani makisho lechazeh v'shok shel todah. I could come and I could be makish zeh to the shok of the todah, which means you're coming and you're telling me that it's going to be the chazeh v'shok of the bechor with the shlamim, right? But maybe be'emet it's going to be the todah, and the todah is also only going to be, right? What? Yom v'layla. Ma todah nechal yom v'layla, af bechor nechal yom v'layla. Meaning you want to make one hekesh, I can make another hekesh. And the other hekesh is to do the todah. So Amar lo, he comes and he tells him, Hare omer uvsaram yelach. It says uvsaram yelach. She'en tamu lomar lecha yeh. So what does the word lecha yeh mean? Umat tamu lomar lecha yeh. What does it mean now lecha yeh? Hosifa katuv havaya acheret bebechor. When it says yeh, many times, by the way, we always do this. Yeh, it's like havaya, meaning that it should be like this. But there's another havaya. There's something else like it. What is it? It's going to be, right, the chazeh v'shok. The shlamim. That it's going to be the bechor is going to be like the shlamim. So therefore, besides the hekesh, because I could have done the hekesh the other way around, it was from the end of that pasuk when it says lecha yiyeh. It's going to be for you that it should be like this established. There's going to be another thing which is established like that as well. So he says, "Ukshamru dvarim lifnei Rabbi Yishmael." So when they went into the Beit Midrash, and they said this in front of Rabbi Yishmael, Elmaleh, and he says, "Tseu v'imru lo Rabbi Akiva ta'ita." They went and he said, "Go tell Rabbi Akiva, you made a mistake." Now remember, Rabbi Yosef, he stumped already Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon didn't have an answer because Rabbi Tarfon wanted to learn from a binyan av, and he wasn't able to, right? So now all of a sudden, what? No, Rabbi Tarfon didn't make a hekesh. Rabbi Tarfon did a binyan av. Rabbi Tarfon was a binyan av. Rabbi Akiva made a hekesh. Where do you see a hekesh? You see it's a binyan av. Binyan av. Shlamim is kadashim kalim, and this is going to be kadashim kalim, huh?
In the first case, where is the cash between Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi?
One more time, doctor. Zoom out, everybody. So says the Gemara now like this. So we just finished. He says like this. He says, Amar lo Rabbi Tarfon, says Rabbi Tarfon, sorry, he says like this. When they came in front of now Rabbi Yishmael. Are you guys listening? They came in front of Rabbi Yishmael. And Rabbi Yishmael comes and he tells them, Amar lahen, Seu v'imru lo Rabbi Akiva ta'ita. Go tell Rabbi Akiva, you made a mistake. Why? Todah me'echal lemeda. Where do you learn from the Todah? From the Shlamim. Right? What does that mean? You're learning the Todah itself from the Shlamim. Right? Because it's not written in Furash, you have to give the Chazeh v'shok to the Kohen. So therefore he says, from the Shlamim. So therefore, he comes and he says, V'chi davar alameh be'ekesh, chozerom lameh be'ekesh. If you're going to tell me now that it's going to be be'ekesh, right? You're going to learn it again in Ekesh. Ha'en alecha lidom melashon ha'acharon melashon harishon. So therefore, you just said that when you made the Ekesh between the Bechor and the Chazeh v'shok, right? You wanted to make it to the Korban Todah. You can't do that. You have to go to the Shlamim. Meaning like this. What does it mean now? He said Ta'ita. He says, right, you retracted Ki'ilu because you went and you said, you know what? One more time, right? Everybody come back. Zoom out. Look at me. One more time. Forget now Rabbi Tarfon, which Rabbi Tarfon was a binyan avs, which are the comparables. Forget comparables. Now we're in the Hekesh. Rabbi Akiva came and he said, I have a Hekesh. What's a Hekesh? Shlamim and Bechor. Asks Rabbi Yosef Galilei, I also have an Hekesh. Toda and the Bechor. So says Rabbi Akiva, you're right, but it says Yelach. And if it says Yelach, there's another one. Says Rabbi Ishmael, why did you retract and say you're right? It's not true. You're right that you were right at the end. Fine, forget about that. But it was wrong. He says, why? Where's the Mekor of the Todah? The Mekor of the Todah was also from the Shlamim. It was a Hekesh from the Shlamim. So therefore, Rabbi Yoseg comes and he tells Rabbi Akiva, I also have a Hekesh, Bechor from the Todah. So he should have answered him. And where do you learn the Todah from? A Hekesh from where? From the Shlamim. So one second. If you're going to learn from a Hekesh from the Shlamim, so therefore something that you learn from a Hekesh, you can't learn it again with another Hekesh. Davar alome be'Hekesh, you can't learn from another Hekesh. So therefore, what are you talking about then? So Rabbi Akiva should have told Rabbi Yosef Gileh, what are you talking about? Yeah, where are you going? That's what he should have told him. Yeah? So fine. Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Ishmael, Hay lechayeh, what does he do then? Because Rabbi Akiva, at the end of the day, where did he learn it from? Lechayeh. There's going to be something else like it. So Rabbi Ishmael didn't like that, but you don't need that. But what does Rabbi Ishmael then do with the pasuk? Lechayeh. Right? So he says, Limed al bechor balmum, shu matana lakohen, shelo matzinu bechol haTorah. Do you know that even if you have a balmum in the bechor, it still goes to the kohen? That was not written anywhere. Meaning, even because I would have thought to say, listen, the bechor has a balmum, the bechor has a defect. Yeah, it's got a blemish. So if it has a blemish, so what happens? I don't have to give it to the kohen. I could keep it. No. Here I have to give it to the kohen. Where do they learn that from? From here, right? Lechayiyeh. Yeah, lechayiyeh. Right, it's going to be for you. So he says, right, like this. He says, for Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Akiva, he learns it from uvsaram. What does it mean uvsaram yelach? Chad tam v'chad balmum. It says their flesh, it doesn't matter how their flesh is. It doesn't matter if it's a balmum or if it's going to be, right, a tam, regular animal. It always has to go to the kohen. For Rabbi Ishmael, what does he do with the word uvsaram? So he says, mi besaram danach bechorot kamar. He said, we're talking about the besaram of the bechorot of three different types of animals. Bechor shor, kesef, oez. Right? Shor o kesef oez, ki valed vaya. Right? Shor, kesef, oez. Those are three different types of animals. So according to him, when it says uvsaram, uvsaram just means their flesh. It's those three animals. According to the other opinion, when it says uvsaram, doesn't matter whether it's a tam or it's a balmum. Doesn't matter whether it's going to be a regular animal or an animal with a blemish. Okay? So b'maika mipalgeh, what is the machloka between them? So he says, Mor savar emenu v'gam davar acher, right? Av yekesh, umor savar lo av yekesh. So the question is, are you going to say that it's going to be like a kesh? That means according to Rabbi Ishmael, he learns that something which is learned by a kesh, and then afterwards it's a little bit by a kesh and a little bit with something else. So therefore, is that an akesh or not? And according to Rabbi Akiva, right, it's not considered a akesh, right? So he says it's like mefurash written in the Torah. Right? So he comes and he says, so because of that, right, this basically comes from the concept of tafasta muat. Okay? Fine. Bishlom al-mandamar. I understand it good according to the mandamar lo avi kesh, that it's not considered a kesh, because it says, v'chin yaseh lo al-moed, keshem shemazeh lifnai v'lifni machal lemala v'sheva lemata midam apar, kach mazeh be'echal, right? You also have to do the same thing in the Hechal. Hechal lemala v'sheva lemata. Uchshem shelifnai v'lifni machal lemala v'sheva lemata midam asayid, kach mazeh be'echal, the same thing. According to the mandamar, it's going to be a kesh. What are you going to say? How do we learn then that you have to do the azot of the Hechal, that which is written in the pad is also by the seed? If you can't make a kesh, what are you going to do then? Which means like this. We know that on Kippur, we have the pad and then the sa'ir. How many times do you sprinkle the blood? Right? So achat lemala v'sheva lemata. So it's 8 every single time, correct? Achat lemala v'sheva lemata. Now you do that for the dama pad, and you do that for the dama sa'ir. And then if you remember, you mix the blood of the Damapad and Dama Sayyid together, and then again you're going to do more. That's why on Kippur you do so many azaot, because think about it, you do 8 and 8, right, which is already 16, and then you're going to do also again on the inside, you're going to do by the parochet, and then you're going to have whether it's 41 or 43 or 44, where you have all the different shitot that we already learned in Zevachim. Okay? How many azaot do you do on Kippur? How many azaot are you doing in Kippur? Okay, so he comes and he says like this: Mekomot, yeah, Mekomot hu degamre me'adade. He says the Hekesh Hasheni is only being makish the Mekomot, right? That what does it mean the Mekomot? That it's going to be equal, whether it's going to be the Kodesh Kodashim, right, and the Korbanot, okay? Because you've got Korbanot and then you got the Mekomot, okay? So now Nun Zaydem Ubet, we're going to finish the parak today, right? V by Tema, if you want, you can answer 57b, right? He comes and he says, yeah, to be or not to be? That's the question. Yeah, chutz mivifnim bechad zim nagamid. We're learning everything to do with outside and inside in one shot. Meaning, since we're making the kesh v'chen yaseh leol moed, everything that you do in the ol moed to the outside, meaning we're comparing everything together. So therefore, whatever you're going to do to the damapar and damasaid is oto davar, the same thing, right? To the damapar and damasaid, okay, and also in the same place. That's why we're learning it in one place. So he says, Bisham al mandamar, it's good according to the mandamar that we're talking about lo avi hakesh, that it's not going to be a hakesh. Hainu dichtiv, and that's why it's going to be written by the Shtei Alechem in the Chag HaShavuot. It says, V'yikraftem yicha chadasha la'Hashem, mimo shavotechem taviu lechem tenufa, she'en termo lomar taviu. What is taviu coming to teach you? Ma talmu lomar taviu, she'ata mevim makom acher. That you're going to learn that there's another place also about lachme chametz, right? Areu kazeh, and it's going to be the same halachot. Ma lehala nisaron lechala, afkan nisaron lechala. Ima lehala shne esronim, afkan shne esronim. Talmud Lomar comes to teach you tiena. What does it mean tiena? That it's going to be dafka the lachme todah, which means, right, that the shtaimen is going to be shne esronim, which is isaron lakikar. Okay? I'm going to ask you a question. Korbanot in the Bet Hamikdash, they were chametz or matzah? So please.
Mixed.
Korban Todah. What do you have in the Korban Todah?
40 with 10 chametz.
Chazak Baruch, doctor. Is there another Korban which is also chametz? Exactly. What's it called? Shtei Alechem. Chazak Baruch, doctor. You're always on the ball. Yeah, very easy. 100%. Yeah?
נו, הייתי קרוב, אמרתי 49 זה 39.
לא, זה 41 או 43 או...
יום הכיפורים, בכל.
כן, תבדוק. He comes and he says like this. He says, right? He says like this. He says, I'm comparing, right, the Shtei Alechem to the Korban Todah. So he comes and he says like this. He says, why does it say, right, by, right, it says like this. It says, V'yikraftem mincha chadasha, this is to do with Shavuot. You're going to bring mincha chadasha, v'shotechem taviu lechem tenufa. So why does it say now taviu? So he's coming to say, just like you learn it from somewhere else. Just like by the lachme, right, the lechem of the, it has to be like the lachme todah. So he comes and he says, lachme chametz of the todah is isaron lachala. It's going to be 1/10, right? One isaron, right? One isaron per chala, okay? And therefore it's going to be 10 isronim. So he comes and he says, just like over there, it's going to be shnei isronim. So to yeshvi shnei isronim. Tamonumar yeh, that each one of them has to have isaron. So that means we're learning the Shtei Alechem from the Lachme Todah. And that's why it's coming like it's going to be about the Hekesh. So he says, Ve'lamanu asara lechametz. We learned that the 10 Lachme Chametz is going to be, right, is going to be, of each one of them is going to be an Isaron. So if you have 10 loaves, so you have 10 Isaronim. Yeah? Doctor, very simple math. If every single loaf is an Isaron, so therefore there's 10 loaves of Chametz, so 10 Isaronim. So says the Gemara, right? Asara lematzah minayin. How do you know also that you're going to have the 30 lachme matzot? How do we know also it's going to be the same thing? So Tamulomar al chalat lechem chametz. It's a kesh on chalat lechem chametz. Neged chametz have matzah. Meaning you're going to have the lechme matzah. Everything together is going to be the same as the 10 of the chametz. One more time. How many loaves, Ronen? Right? I want to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'm going to come and I'm going to bring a Korban Todah. How many loaves do I bring with a Korban Todah?
30. Sorry, 40.
Thank you. Right? And how many of those are matzah and how many are chametz?
10 mitzvot and 10 chametz.
Yeah, very good. Right? So now the question is as follows, right? How big is the size? How big is the size? We did learn that. No, you're a caterer. You have to know. If you're going to bring me little tiny challah rolls and you're going to tell me, listen, each one is half a gram. Hey, what's going on? Isaron. So one isaron per bread. Correct or not?
Yes. Means 10 are.
Which one? So 10 isaronim, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now he comes and he says like this. So now he comes and he says,
Every time you address him, he
an
starts.
isaron, by the way, an isaron, according to the Grachnae, is 2.5 liters, right? And according to the Chazonish, it's 4.3 liters. Okay, 2.5 liters. So you're going to need 2.5 liters is an isaron. Okay, fine. Yeah? You guys listening? So therefore, right? What we're learning now is as follows. Right? What we're learning now is as follows. Right? He comes and he says, right? What we're learning now is as follows. How many then isronot of matzah do you have, and how many isronot of chametz do you have? Again, you have 10 loaves of chametz and 30 loaves of matzah. How many do you have of each? How much?
Each matzah, it's 1 saron.
No.
2.5. Well, that's each one. Liters.
Iowa.
Again, repeat the question, Lili. Rabbi, it's going.
Fine. So says the Gemara, Ela lemandama, but according to the mandama, Rehavi Yakesh. Mike, what are you going to say? So it says Teviu is a ribuya. Ribuya. What does it mean ribuya? It's something extra. So since it's something extra, so therefore it's brought down to do with the shtei alechem, to do with the lachmei chametz, with the todah. So it's not only just like a kesh, it's also a ribui. Ribui means that it's extra. So the fact that it's extra, you can learn things from it. It's not only just from a kesh. Right? Next. 2 dots. A pesach enu nechal ela beforehand. A pesach enu nechal ela balayla. Yeah? Right? Venu nechal ela al chatzot. Then venu nechal al tzari. Right? Venu nechal al tzari. Right? Okay. So he says like this. Mantana. Who's the one that says, right, that it's only until chatzot? So Rabbi Yosef says, Elazar Nazariah. Tell him Elazar Nazariah when Nema kan balayla ze venu malan v'avarti b'yas v'zem elayla ze malay halan until chatzot. So it's going to be until chatzot. Amalo Rabbi Akiva says Rabbi Akiva v'lo kvar neman. It already says v'achaltem oto b'chipazon. Ma ze b'chipazon? Quickly. What's the Targum of b'chipazon?
Quickly.
No, Tergum I just told you.
What do you mean?
Unculus. No.
You barely speak Hebrew.
Bivhilu. Bivhilu yatzanu mimitzrayim. Bivhilu yatzanu. There's a bechipazon. It says Aramaic. The Aramaic. Targum Unculus is bivhilu. So it says bechipazon. We came out quickly of Mitzrayim. Achat chipazon. You came out omer b'layla zeh. So יכול יהיה ככל הקודשים נחלים ביום, אתה אומר בלילה. בלילה יהיה ונאכל. It's only during the night time, not during the day. That means you have to eat it at night. You don't eat it during the day. That's what I said. But really, according to Rabbi Akiva, when are you allowed to eat it? Until the morning. Yeah? What's enough kamina, by the way? Of this machloket, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Elazar and Azariah. Hazak Baruch. What happens if I can't stop before Chatzot? So do you know, right? Do you know? No, it's the only thing is that he pays attention to shiurim. He's not on the phone. Yeah? So what happens? If you remember, we brought down in the shiur, we said something beautiful. There's an Avnei Nezer that said you can make a tanai. Right? That what happens? Right now, we do lechatchila that we finish until chatzot, like Rabbi Elazar and Azariah. But according to Rabbi Akiva, you're allowed to go until Alot HaShachar. So therefore, if a person cannot finish Tafikomen before chatzot, he would actually come and he would make a tanai. But let's say he didn't finish Tafikomen. Right? And let's say he's in the middle of the meal and he's not going to finish. So he's going to make a tanai. If the halacha is Rabbi Elazar and Azariah, so then this is my Afikomen, right? And then what happens is, right, later on is nothing. And basically that's it. Like already after chatzot, you could do whatever you want. But if the halacha is going to be like Rabbi Akiva, so right now I'm just eating stam. And then later on, after chatzot, is going to be my afikomen, just like Rabbi Akiva. You're able to use Rabbi Akiva as a you're basically doing like a, how do you call it, like a tanai, a condition in order to. But this is based upon this machloket. According to Rabbi Akiva, you've gone until the morning, and according to Rabbi Elazar and Azariah, you only have until chatzot. Elmaleh Abaye, it says Abaye, "Mimai der b'Elazar ben Azariah doraita, timam der Rabbanan." How do you know Elazar ben Azariah is talking about the midoraita you have until the chatzot to eat it? Maybe it's only the Rabbanan, and it's only lachik. Meaning every single time that we always usually say until chatzot, right? The first Mishnah Berachot, Chachamim omrim ad chatzot. Why? Kedei lachik et adam min avera. And many times we find that. And the majority of the times we keep on saying Kedei lachik, so it's the Rabbanan, it's not doraita. So how do you know? So he says in Ken, if so, my ella chatzot, ella, ella. Ella mahatan, just like over there, it's going to be doraita. So 2 years it's going to be doraita. Dran halach, ezehu mekoman. Doctor, we have the picture here in the next page of the article. We have the picture of the mizbeach and all those things.